Hi guys, it's Nancy and I'm back with a process video, and this is one I filmed last year that got lost in a hard drive, then found again, then lost, but then is back again. So it is for a layout that I have shared about, but it's not necessarily the video's been seen, so I just thought I'd share it with you. And this is using a mixture of very old collections which don't really go together. So in my background I'm using 2 bits of Maggie Holmes paper from her first collection, and I'm mixing it with some My Mind's Eye collection as well. This is to go in my travel album, and these pictures are from the Japanese garden. And it's going to be a mixed bag, but I kind of like how it came out. So again, this is when I'm working on getting my silhouette used. I'm really trying. And so I used that back piece to cut out, and what I did is I placed it so I cut it in the middle of that layout, and then I've got the background piece, so there's still enough to mount a layout on. So, and as you'll know if you watch my videos, I like to mount either my photos or something on my layout with the same as what's on the background. So what I'm doing here is just roughly marking down where that was, and I'm gonna just draw some circles and do some craziness and just have a bit of a play. So I just scribbled on there with a pencil. I'm now taking a range of different mists. I've got some yellow, I've got my beloved Route 66. I'm really just going around making a kind of scratchy mess. You know, this is a kind of style that I've done many times. You've seen it on my channel before, and I really just like it. So I'm using greens, and these are a mixture of like Mr. Huey, Dilutions, Do Crafts, cheap ones as well. So yeah, it's a real mixed bag. So I've also mixed some gold shimmer in there as well. Then I'm going to be taking some of my what are they called? Distressings. Total mind fart there. And I'm just taking a roller stamp and then stamping around in the background as well. And so this is reminiscent to what I've been trying to get back to more recently, which is creating that background texture and those different patterns and stuff, which I really do enjoy doing. So just stamping these around, using different ones, not worrying if they're straight. I've tried to get them the right way up, but other than that, didn't worry too much because I knew that it was going to be covered by that die cut, but also my photos. So I'm just adding little bits of glue on here, not worrying of course about sticking every little bit down, because photos and stuff are going to go on top of it. So as you can see, when I place that on top, it has covered up a lot of that sort of darker colour, but I really love how it looks. I'm going to go back in with some more of those mists just to add over the top of it. And as I said, you could also use texture paste if that's your bag, stencils, all of that to add in that as well, but I'm really super happy how that came out. So these are then going to be the photos I use, and I do sort of tuck these behind some of those little, what would they be? Because they're not really vines. Fronds? Is that a word? Buds? Who knows? And there's this really cool little sculpture that was in the Japanese garden of this kind of freaky, angry looking deer thing. Cross between a deer and a frog, in my opinion. But I snapped some pictures of it. As you'll know, if you watch my previous American albums videos and this one, I just love the Japanese garden. I take so many pictures, it's ridiculous. So I'm taking these, which are again from the cut and paste My Mind's Eye collection, an older one, and adding in some of these kind of abstract flower pieces. Again, these have been in my stash for a long time, not used, so I was like, yes, I'm going to use them. I'm going to be using these 2 quotation marks because I want to put my title there, and I ended up swapping those out for the sort of teal ones. I'm bringing in a little glossy kind of puffy sticker so I can put down the location. Again, a geotag is something that I'm including quite a lot in my albums. So I'm now going through another one of the cut and paste My Mind's Eye collections. You'll remember that if you've been scrapping for a while, that there was like 3 or 4 different My Mind's Eye cut and paste collections. This one's actually one I picked up in TK Maxx, which was kind of had a variety of all the stash. So because I wouldn't normally buy the chipboard stickers and stuff like that, which is why I'd kind of been left with them. So I'm going through just pulling out different things that work, I've pulled out the paper that matches some of those chipboard stickers, so I'm going to do some fussy cutting there. And then this is a Chamel piece of paper, which I'm just looking at the different sayings and word pieces. I bought this purely to cut, to use as cut apart to make little stickers. I really should probably cut them all up, but I find it slightly easier to look at as a whole piece. Wow. I'm sorry for rabbiting. I do really know what I'm talking about. So yeah, as you can see, just chopping those down to add to my clusters. These little micro clusters that I like doing. This is probably slightly bigger than a micro cluster. A midi cluster? I don't know. Midi is a word they always use for knickers / pants. So anyway, enough of knicker talk / pants / whatever you call them in the country you're in. Okay, back to this. So I'm now going to just start gluing these elements down because, otherwise I move stuff and it's not stuck down and it's just a disaster. So these are some elements that I fussy cut from that paper, and said it was just a 6x6 piece of paper. I cut out lots of the little flowers that match the chipboard ones, and I'm just going to go crazy and stick these around everywhere. I love fussy cutting. I spoke about it before. I find it quite relaxing, especially when you're doing microcluster techniques and stuff like that. The littler bits, the better. It's, just sneaking those tiny little flowers in around and about, which just really adds to the layers. I'll also note that I did swap out that geotag for the teal one because that darker browny grey one was standing out a little bit too much. So, of course, anywhere along this point you could stop adding these layers. I tend to add probably a little bit too much, but I like the fussiness, and it kind of the colours just work really well with the photos. As I said, these collections are both older. The Maggie Holmes one I would say is older than the cut and paste, and actually the alphas I end up using this are very old because they come from a Studio Calico and Project Life kit. Project Life has died a death for me at the moment. My whole recording for this year has gone a little bit haywire, which I really need to address at some point, but yeah, I'm trying not to worry about that at the moment. So I've just used my trusty Chamel date stamp to put the date down there on that little card that I cut out, and because of course the 6x6 paper pads do have the cut apart sheets just reduced down as well, so they're great for adding my journaling in. So I'm just working out here where I'm going to place my title, because the background is so super crazy. I decided I did want to leave a little bit of that paper, that beigey paper in the background, because I wanted it to actually be able to be seen. So on here I am just putting SFO, because as you'll know from my other ones, I'm trying to include where it is, and that's going to be something that carries on through my travel albums, as well as aeroplanes, cameras, globes, the normal generic kind of travel-y stuff. So this is this font that I'm going to use, and I'm not going to lie, it's a blanking nightmare. It's kind of like a weird vinyl. It's static, half of it's come off and on. It wasn't my favourite. So I'm going to work at putting my title down, and it does take a little while because it's a bit stressful. And my title is going to be "You're Weird, I Like You," which is talking about this crazy little deer sculpture that I found. And I said I'm just infilling it with some Studio Calico older pieces as well. So really, crazy hair! Look, I had orange-red hair back then. So yeah, that is really it for this layout. Oh no, I found some stars on there as well, so I'm going to stick them around because there's not enough craziness in the background. And I really enjoyed this, and actually I'm looking and watching it back, since I found the video, I'm like, yes, I need to do more of digging in my stash to use these older collections. Love the newer papers, but I love mixing bits and pieces. So I want to thank you very much for watching this older video. As I said, It's a good 6 months old now, but hopefully, you know, you've enjoyed watching it. I'm going to be back with some more videos very, very soon. I'm trying to get my butt in gear and get myself in a place where I can scrap more regularly, because it's just not happening at the moment. So, yeah, that is it. I'm just going to be sticking these on the back and calling it done. So, thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I will speak to you all again very, very soon. Bye!